Hi, so good morning. My name is Halona Black. I am the facilitator of the Wednesday AM uh, meditative writing group. And we meet once a week so that we can sit and do our journal writing prompts to help us to practice our creativity first thing in the morning, and then we go off with the rest of our day. Because Miss Christine. We'll wait until she pops on all the way. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning, ladies.
So happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
All right, so we were just getting started today.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to get started with our short meditation as we always do. So when we do our meditation, I always turn off the video for just a couple of minutes. And what we're going to do is we are going to sit. If you'd like to, you can close your eyes. Pull your back up straight to where you're comfortable in the seat. You can also lay down where you are. That's also fine as well. And you just start to breathe normally. And as you breathe normally, you can feel your shoulders start to drop. Feel the energy in your arms just sort of relax itself to the both sides of your body. If you'd like to, you can stretch both sides of your neck. Roll your shoulders in a circle. Sometimes I like to pull my arms over my head on both sides to get a stretch on either side of your body. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. All right, so this morning we're learning how to, or we're talking about how to tap into your personal genius. And what I mean by tapping into your personal genius, we're talking about what it is that you believe about yourself. I think we've talked about this in other, different ways and forms in other classes. But I think it's an important concept because I don't really think that I really gave this question any thought until I started to study the topic of education for myself and my reasons for being an educator. One of the things that you have to do when you go to school to study education is that you have to come up with your own educational philosophy. And they make you do that early in the program. And the reason is because you need to be able to define your approach to how it is you want to be able to work with your students. And then it doesn't matter what type of students. I, in particular, was working with adults. I wanted to learn how to be able to work with adult students, but the same thing goes when you're working with children. You need to come up with your educational philosophy about your approach to your classroom or to your school. And so my personal belief was that all people had some kind of a genius within them. And I was really surprised that people would fight me on this. It would be other students who would fight me on it. Sometimes some of my other professors would sort of fight me on that. On my personal belief that people had some level of genius within them. But it's not necessarily weird because at least in the United States, what we like to do is be able to categorize people by their IQ or their perceived sense of intelligence based on test scores. And so when you think about it, a lot of our self-esteem issues as adults stem from our experience as children being in school, and people who don't necessarily your sense of self-esteem is based on what other people say about who you are, what your intelligence looks like, and whether or not you have any at all. And so one of the things that I learned to think about in this way, if you belong to a group of people and your foundational belief about yourself is that you are one of God's chosen people, that's your foundational belief about who you are, that has an effect on how it is that you move through the world. It changes the way that you move through the world in a certain way. It changes the decisions that you make based on your own sense of self-esteem. Now, on the other hand, if you come from a group where you're treated like a burden, a charity case, nobody really wants to deal with you, then you make different decisions than people who believe that they are they're God's chosen people. So our job as adults and even as children can do this as well. But in the sense of this group, our job as adults is to be able to define what it is that we believe about ourselves, define where that belief comes from, and to create a bigger or better belief that gets us the life that we want. And so today's journaling questions I based on 3 ways. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Oh goodness, I don't know what's going on with this internet. Oh, well, I do know what's going on. There's a storm passing through, so sometimes the internet goes in and out. But I was talking about us leaning into compliments. Watching children, I used to teach, there was a point where I was teaching healthy cooking classes for children. They were like 3rd and 5th graders. And so whenever I would give these children compliments, I would say, you're so smart, or the way you cut that vegetable, you did such a great job. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your work. And when you say it, you look them in the eyes and you would watch how their whole being would light up when you would give them a compliment. Their eyes would light up. They wanted to be able to, they wanted to do well when you gave them a compliment. On the other hand, when I was teaching adults in my GED and college classes, um, when I gave them compliments, it was sometimes, not all the time, but a lot of the times it was like they would put up some sort of an emotional wall. So because they didn't want to believe it, they couldn't receive it. And so I decided I needed to ask, what happens between, childhood and becoming an adult, where we stop learning how to accept compliments from other people about our intelligence and who we are. So our first question, journaling question, what was the last compliment you remember receiving? What did you think when you heard it? And how did the compliment feel in your body? I know there's several questions, so I'm going to put it in the chat. I'll repeat it. What was the last compliment you remember receiving? What did you think when you heard it? How did the compliment feel in your body? So I'll put about 8 minutes on the clock to answer it. Good morning, Miss Carolyn. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing? I'm fine, thank you. Hi, everybody. Mm.
I'm putting the question in the chat. We're talking about how to tap into your genius. And so
Yeah.
the question that we are writing about, what was the last compliment you remember receiving? What did you think when you heard it? And how did the compliment feel in your body?
Okay. Thank you.
3 more minutes. Okay. So the question is, what was the last compliment you remember receiving? What did you think when you heard it, and how did the compliment feel in your body? So if anyone wants to start us off, you can read what you wrote, or, just sort of share in general what you wrote about.
Okay, I'll start.
Yes.
The
please.
last compliment I received was one of my coworkers. She
Mhm.
complimented me that I was her mentor and that she appreciated all I'd been speaking into her.
Mhm.
And she loved the advice I'd been offering her. We've been working together 23 years. Um, what did I think? I was surprised because I've been speaking to this young lady for quite a while and sharing with her. So I was really surprised when she said it, and she said it in a group of people. So I was surprised, but I appreciated that at last she was getting the advice that I was offering. And how did I feel in my body? I felt good. I felt valued. I felt that my words were now sinking in, and that what I'd been saying to her didn't fall on deaf ears. That
Mhm.
she's been digesting it, and I know it takes a while for some people to get things in their head, change their mindset. But
Mhm.
yeah, I felt good about that.
Mhm. That's awesome. So you felt appreciated.
Yeah,
You were able to accept this young lady's words.
yes, definitely.
Mhm. So you said that you said something about you had been working at this particular place for something like 20 years?
23 years. Yeah, we've been
23
working
years. Wow.
together. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So then you feel confident because you've been there. You're
Yeah, I've
probably
been there a while. Yeah.
yeah. And so that's your part of your genius is based on the fact that you are well experienced, and you're able to
Yes.
mentor. You're
Yes.
able to mentor other people in the work that you do. That's
Yes, I
awesome.
am. Mhm.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else would you like to share? Miss
I'll
Carolyn,
share.
are you here? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So the compliment I received recently was about my age because I was online at a senior center, and so I was asking how much the lunch was. And so the woman behind me said, well, you're not 60 yet, so they don't know me. It's new. I was getting ready to teach a class. And she said, you're not 60 yet, so I believe it's $2, and by the way, they serve a great lunch at the center for $2, you know, healthy and everything. And so I said, you're so kind. I said, but yeah, I know I'm over 60. So she said, how old? I said, I'm 74. She said, get the F out of here. So, so we had a good laugh about that, and I'll be 75 in 2 weeks. I'll be 75 in 2 weeks. So I'm really grateful, to have received that compliment. And what it did was it let me know that I've been doing the right thing as far as, of course, diet, but certainly mostly about choosing the people that I uh, allow in my life
Mhm.
and who I allow myself to be around. And so it felt gratifying. And I was convinced that all of the trials and tribulations that I chose to put myself through for my freedom was worth it. So all of the what ifs left my bloodstream and freed my consciousness, reinforcing the foundation that I laid 23 years ago in my inexperienced, awkward way that stated I was worthy. I just realized as I was writing this piece that the woman who took my place in the maelstrom of abuse, last name was Worthy.
Mm.
The message was lost on me at that time. In this moment, I really must thank her. It took her 15 years to live up to her name.
Mm. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I love that so much. So you said it took you 15 years?
It took her, the woman
Took
who
her
took
15
my
years.
place in
Mm-hmm.
that foolishness,
Mm-hmm.
15 years of her life
Mm-hmm.
to escape. But
Yeah.
I left after 8.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. No less traumatic, but because there's no comparing pain
Right.
when you lose a relationship, but certainly the loss was great on my part. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Mhm.
Thank you for that. I love that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
For me, for me, I wrote about how my grandmother, I spoke to my grandmother recently. My grandmother is in her 90s. And my grandmother complimented me on she said, your uncle says that you're a genius. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, we're just really proud of you for how it is that you live your life. It's just a lot different from what everyone else expected. Um, but we're really proud of what it is that you're doing. And it's nice to hear that people are proud of you when you're a kid, but as an adult, you don't really feel like anybody's really thinking about it. And at least for me, I probably get more criticism than anything else. And so 6 years after, after I've left the US to be able to go travel and do other things, um, the fact that people would even have conversations about what it is that I am doing, to be able to say that, we are proud of you. It's nice to be able to hear. But even when I hear the compliment, it's like I don't believe it. I'm like, what what is it that you all are proud of? What did I do in particular? And so when the question about how the compliment feels in my body, I think the lesson for me is to be able to learn how to accept compliments. Because I think that that's important when it's like compliments can be medicine if you allow it to. You to be able to allow, it's like a feeding of sorts. And it can go either way. It can feed you in a good way or a bad way. And so the fact that I was blocking off love from other family members and their way of their compliments um, says a lot about what it is that I perhaps need to work on, and to be able to receive compliments from other people instead of receiving negativity so well. Learn how to receive compliments is important.
And the fact that it was from your grandmother is so significant, especially at that wise age.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I swear she wasn't paying attention, but she apparently she is.
Oh, she's paying attention. That's her baby.
Okay. So the second question that I have is around taking notes on how other people develop their genius. So in particular, I love to watch how people paint, or some sort of creativity that they've developed. I like to be able to watch their creative process unfold, and it gives me clues on how to help me with my own painting or drawing, or you can take parts of what other people are doing and add it to your life in some way, shape, or form. And so and I also like watching how people are how serious they take their genius, their creative genius. They hold it like it's precious. So the question is, how do you develop or nurture your own genius? How do you develop or nurture your own genius? 3 more minutes. Okay. So the question is, how do you develop or nurture your own genius? Would anyone like to share their answer? For myself, I've learned that reading and writing goes together. So even as a writer, I write all day. I'm a writer that's how I make money on a regular basis. And so I have clients that I write for. But even beyond the work that I do for clients, I'm always learning different types of writing and studying the ways in which other people write books or different types of books and things like that. Looking at other people's types of expression is important to me. So I would read books, even reading like even more modern types of writing and social media. Like there's some people who really put a lot of effort and energy into how it is that they express themselves on social media. It's not just all, short memes and silly news all the time. You can actually find some quality social media accounts online if you choose to look for it. And so I like to be able to see what other people are reading or thinking about in that way, and that sort of helps to feed what it is that I like to write about. And then also with painting and drawing, I put those things on my schedule. So painting and drawing, actually, it helps to sort of wind down the day for me. And so that at the end of the day, I can go to sleep. So I put it on my calendar that like there's actually a beep that goes off at the end of the day reminding me, work needs to end or slow down at this point, because if I don't, I'll be up working until 10, 11 o'clock at night. And that reminds me that I have my paints and my soft pastels sitting right here next to my desk on my right-hand side. So I don't have to do a bunch of stuff to be able to find it. And so I find something to be able to draw, even if it's just a small object that I have sitting on my desk, or it's an image that I have in my head, or I'll go online and I'll find a tutorial of something that I want to be able to draw or paint. That's my way of nurturing my own creativity. Anyone else?
Sure. I develop and nurture my own, I'm on the wrong page. No, I'm on the right page. I develop and nurture my own genius by applying new information from reading, because I love to write, and reading is a part of it, talking to people who have similar interests or life philosophies, and sometimes differing, visiting museums, and communing with nature. So I communicate with my plants for specific outcomes, physical or emotional, by using flower essences or drinking herb teas. I like playing with other people's pets because I don't want to take care of one. So I walk through the streets, and if someone has a friendly pet, I get into it. Um, I love designing lessons in a way that stimulate all of the senses of the people I'll be engaging with. And speaking to staying up late, that's why I came on late, because I was up till 2 this morning. Oh, this will look nice here. That kind of thing. um, and I love to sit by the water and drink in the magnificence of nature's balance. I look at bodies of water and say, wow, we could be consumed at any minute, but we're not, you know. And then I recently joined Masterclass to expand my circle of influence. That way I can get information from people. You know how you see people say, wow, I wish they were my friend. I wish I could, sit at their feet. So Masterclass has a whole host of people that I wish I knew in person, but I could get to know the piece of them that will really matter and change my life in some way.
That's the online class, right?
Yes. And it's great because I don't really, like back in the day, how you spend the day listening to the radio and you putter around the house. Well, you don't have to be looking in the person's face while they're teaching. So I've been, doing my dishes or just, being and listening to them rather than watching their expression and everything. And because I have an interest in so many things, it's a great place to find all of those things in one spot.
I love that. And that actually that whoever, developed that way of putting classes together. I think and masterclass really focuses on people who have achieved a certain level of a certain level of status.
Status
In
and
whatever
wisdom.
mhm, and
Because,
whatever it is they do, yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, I'm actually doing a class with him now, and he teaches how to think scientifically.
Oh,
So
cool.
I would never, you know what I mean? This
Mhm.
I'm interested in science to a point, but
Yeah.
when you get into all the calculus and all that, you lose me. But when you talk about the philosophy of science, that's very interesting to me.
Mhm. Yeah, so you get access to people that you normally wouldn't have access to, and you get to figure out parts of what is it that makes them so interesting or makes them famous for what it is that they do, which is a great way for you to be able to learn. You can add
Mhm.
all sorts of bits and pieces from other people's lives into your own.
Right. Although I did meet Neil deGrasse Tyson in person. I even got a hug. And I even got to quote his stuff back to him. We are all star stuff. He
Mhm.
was beaming.
I
Yeah.
love. Would anyone else like to share before we go to our last question? Okay.
I think it's basically the same for me. I love reading. So
Mm-hmm.
reading definitely. And writing. I'm always jotting down things I hear or see or watch. Someone may say something, and I have my phone with the notes, so I can keep notes on it. And like Carolyn said, speaking with like-minded people and people who don't think the way you think, because then you get another train of thought, another way of thinking about something, and being open to that. Because a lot of people are very conservative and don't want to think any other way unless it's the way that they think. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
very open to listening to people and just paying attention and learning why they think the way they think. You don't have to agree or accept, but just being open to that. So that's helped me develop very much meditating, just getting downloads, just spending
Mm-hmm.
time alone, meditating and getting downloads from God and researching, just looking things up, things you wonder about or things you hear. And so thank God for Google and
Mm-hmm.
whatever you can no longer have to go to the encyclopedias and just researching on different topics and different things that you hear about and taking courses. Recently took a
Mm-hmm.
course. So you have to be open to learning. And people think that when you get a certain age, you're not to learn anything else. They say, I'm
Mm-hmm.
over 50, I'm over 60, I can't. No, as long as you're alive, you should be open to learning something, to knowing something more. As long as there is life, then there's something to know. There's something
Mm-hmm.
else to. My daughter and I were just talking this morning about younger people younger than her, and the way they think and process and the things they do.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to pay attention to
Absolutely.
be able to live in this world, to continue to live in this world with other people and to
Absolutely.
maneuver. Yeah.
Mm.
So that's how I develop.
I particularly like I think Miss Carolyn, you said the same thing of listening to other people who have differing opinions is important way to be able to help yourself to develop. And I think in this day and age, we look too much for people to be able to agree. The way that social media works is that you want to be able to find people who are like-minded, which is awesome. We all want to be able to find people who are like-minded. But I think we lose some of the, you know, healthy debate and discussion with other people who might be of a different mindset without it, turning into something else that becomes unhealthy.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah, learning how to
you're
be able
right.
to,
Healthy
mhm,
debate.
yeah, healthy.
That's the issue, because I find that my observations are really one-sided. I usually
Hmm.
don't comment because a lot of times the people want to fight. I don't want to fight. You
Hmm.
know, they've lost the art of debate. There's an art
Hmm.
to debating a concept
Yeah,
because the purpose is to understand the other point of view,
yeah.
even if you don't agree.
Hmm.
But, and when it turns into a badgering, I had to lose a friend recently just because it turned into like a badgering over something very simple. And you know, and abusive. The abusive part was what made me drop it. It was unnecessary. It came out of left field. So I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, you gotta go.
Yeah,
And it's sad to me to have to drop people for that reason. You
yeah.
should be able to meld
Mhm.
and send that person on their way with their own views.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
think
that,
we've lost the art of conversation. That's a problem. People
Yes.
just can't talk to each other anymore.
mhm.
Very unfortunate.
Mhm.
Yeah, then there's not very many places that actually encourage that sort of a thing anymore.
Mhm.
You know, if you didn't like if like I never took like a debate class or anything in
Right.
school. The schools that I was in they didn't offer that. But for the ones that did, I can tell that their ability to be able to express themselves is actually quite quite high. And then there are other people who are just, you know, particularly talking to younger people that just don't have any respect for what for a differing opinion at all. It's like we either, or even sometimes with older people too. It's like you if you didn't have this experience, you don't think this way, then you know, I don't even want to talk to you. We can't speak to one another. We can't be friends with one another, which isn't true. So we're in the last few minutes. I'll give you the final question, and you can just sort of do this one on our own. But this is the third way to be able to tap into your genius. Is to you need to be able to have a definition of genius for yourself, which I think we've kind of touched on. And the reason that I think that this is important is because we need to be able to walk through life standing on our own ideas. That you need to be able to know who you are and why it is that you're here and what it is that you came to be able to share with other people. So in order to do that, I think that you have to, one, this is the question, how do you define genius in general? How do you define genius in general? In general terms. And then the second part of that is what key life experiences have shaped or nurtured your genius? So the questions are, how do you define genius in general terms for yourself? And what key life experiences have shaped or nurtured your genius? So you can take that last question and just sort of, you know, you can write that on your own time. I'm gonna post it as I always do on YouTube. If you wanted to, you can go on YouTube and share your answer if you would like. That would be fun to be able to read. But thank you, ladies. I always appreciate you all coming and joining me on a Wednesday, early on a Wednesday morning. So thank you so much. I know everyone has, you know, all the different things that they want to be able to do, but I really appreciate seeing all your faces early in the morning on Wednesday, and I really look forward to coming in here on Wednesday. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you
Thank
too.
you for the opportunity. Love
Thank
you.
you.
Letitia, I missed you today. I missed hearing from you today. But have a beautiful week, ladies.
Thank you. Oh, one last reminder.
Mhm.
I have a workshop that I had to reschedule on planning your book. It's a free workshop that I'm going to be doing on, I believe I said October 15th. So I'm spending the next few days preparing for that. And so if you haven't signed up for it already, and if that interests you, You're more than welcome to sign up for it, but you'll hear about it from me in the next couple of days, or I should send an email today, later on today, about it. And so if you want to sign up, I would love to have you. But I'll see you next week.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.